Hello and welcome back to the Craft Mansion. I'm David, and in this week's video I'll be making 3 more wands from the Harry Potter franchise, or universe, books, or magical land thing. On a comment request I'll be making Ginny's wand, which is this one, Neville's, and Luna Lovegood's wand. If you would like to see my previous ones and more Harry Potter props, I'll leave the link for the playlist over here, and if you want to see more ones, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring the notification bell down below. Yeah, I'm gonna need more space. So as usual, I'll be starting with these templates. I printed the images to the right size. We have Neville's wand at 13 inches, Luna's wand at 14 inches, and then Ginny's wand at 14¼ inches. And I'll be making them primarily from dowels. Different size dowels. I have dowels over here. Obviously, these are too long. I need to cut them down. And then to make the details, I'll be adding clay. I used the pictures I printed to get the right length for the dowels. In this case, the dowel is slightly shorter since the flower structure at the end is hollow, where the petals separate. I made all of these ones from a 10mm diameter dowel. I used my knife to cut around the markings, going round until the wood snapped. Starting with Neville's wand, I traced the thickness of the wand with a thick marker. Once I traced both sides, I shaved off the excess. When shaping wands, I like to first cut the thickness from 2 dimensions, so usually I end up with a square at the end. Then, I round out the edges to form the circular shape. The end of Neville's wand has these 3 twirly bits, so I shaved off as much as I could from the dowel, leaving a thin core in the middle. Then I sanded everything down with a Dremel tool. It really helps if you have a vacuum cleaner handy, because let me tell you, if you don't, you won't only clean your cutting mat, you'd have to clean your entire desk. That includes but is not limited to your mobile phone, a laptop, all the wires, lamps, paper towels, cameras, tripods, stands, paintbrushes, a knife, a paint rack, mouse and pad, water bottle, and your own face. Oh, and wear a mask. For a smoother finish, I used sanding block. Next up was Ginny's wand. Again, I traced the thickness of the wand and shaved off the excess wood. The end of this wand is rounded, like a pointy egg, so to speak, and it fits within the 10mm diameter of the dowel, so I carved it directly out of the wood. Like Neville's wand, this one has twirly bits, so I thinned down the dowel as much as possible in that area. I sanded the whole wand, especially the areas that won't be covered by clay. Last one for this video, Luna's. I traced the picture, shaved the dowel, and then sanded it. Twice. Now I've shaved the dowels according to the wand, but where there's clay, I actually made the dowel thinner. So I can add more clay. For example, with this one, I need 3 rolls of clay, and if I left the whole thickness, the rolls would be very thin, and they wouldn't be that realistic. So I made this thinner, so 3 rolls could easily go around, and even with this one. And then of course, I reduced this thickness so I could fit the petals of Luna's wand. There's this shape, so of course, it's thicker over here and then a bit narrower so I could fit more clay and work more easily. For Neville's wand, I made the 3 whorls separately by first making a roll from clay. It was too thick, so I eventually had to still work the original rolls and modify their shape a bit. I placed all 3 of them straight along the dowel, so it was easier to compare their different lengths. Once all 3 were in place, I twisted them round at the top, leaving about 1/3 straight at the bottom. I made a clear distinction between each roll, and then rounded them some more since they got flatter while I was pressing them onto the dowel. I did think they needed to be thicker, so I simply added a thin strip of clay onto each roll and smoothened the edges so that it appeared solid. To merge pieces of clay together, I just used water and pressed on the area. The handle of Ginny's wand is quite flat, so I flattened a piece of clay, cut it to the right length, and applied it to the wood. I flattened the seam and thinned one end to the thickness of the dowel. I started working on the diamond pattern by first marking it with my thinnest tool. You can use a craft knife, but that's only thin if you use it along the cutting edge. Then, I had to go along the twirling line, making a V cut, where I had marked the diamond pattern. There are 4 lines going clockwise, and another 4 going anti-clockwise. Then, I cleaned all the extra bits of clay, and marked the twirl pattern. There are 2 rolls. I opted to carve them out instead of the method I used for Neville's wand, since these rolls are quite flatter. I made V cuts and rounded the edges. At the end there's a ring which I made from some more clay. For Luna's wand, I started with the thick area near the center of the wand. It's flat on one side but gradually thins out on the other side. I used my knife to push it flat from the one side, but pressed the clay along the dowel while adding water on the other side. This blends the clay and wood nicely together. There's also a ring-like structure just before the flower part. It's thinner on the side facing the middle of the wand and thicker on the side facing the flower. To make the petals, I used the same technique I used on Ginny's wand, where I added a whole piece of clay and marked the 4 distinct petals later on. The base was actually thicker, so I added some more clay. I rounded the bottom of each petal and made V-cuts between each petal to create a clear indentation. From there, I rounded each petal separately, smoothing the edges of the cuts. I also cut the ends of each piece to a point and bent them outwards. Once the clay dried, I cleaned it up with a knife and nail file, removing any markings or edges that shouldn't be there. Below the clay, the dowel is just slightly thinner. Ginny's wand needed a lot of cleaning up, especially the diamond pattern, but luckily everything stayed in place and nothing cracked. Dry clay is fragile, so when sanding, don't put too much pressure on it. For the inner corners, I used the point of a thinner file. So now the major work behind the wand is finished. All that's left is to seal them, and I'll be using Mod Podge as usual. This is mostly to strengthen the clay and prevent it from cracking. I need to buy more Mod Podge, there's like this much left. I've ordered some, hopefully it arrives in time. Once the Mod Podge had dried, I used a very fine sandpaper to remove any imperfections along the dowel. Then, I gave all the wands a second coat of the sealer.
Hello, my name is David Creamer, and I'm clicking through my laptop to find pictures of the wands so I can get the right colors. We have black, we have red, some yellow, maybe some nice orange. I think that's it. Oh, I forgot brown. Sorry. Maybe some white. I think we're good. And this as well. Sorry.
Neville's wand has a dark wooden red color, but the handle is black. Both colors merge in the middle. Ginny's wand is the easiest. It's all black from top to bottom. Luna's wand is the lightest, with a hint of muddy yellow in some areas. The 2 rings are darker, and so are all the carved-in edges at the bottom and between the petals. Finally, I dry brushed some yellow on the petals to define them and make them a bit shinier. And so, all 2 wands were now ready. And that's a total of 12 wands, including my own Pottermore wand. Again, I have a playlist full of Harry Potter tutorials, and not just wands, I have some other props. Can you spot them? From these 3, I'd have to say that Neville's is my favourite. It is plainer than the others, but I just prefer it. Don't know why. Maybe because I love twirly bits. If you would like to see more Harry Potter tutorials like this, give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below with what you think I should do next. I actually do read the comments, as evidenced by this 1-week throwback. On a comment request, I'll be making Ginny's wand, which is this one, Neville's, and Luna Lovegood's wand. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, here is the subscribe button, and here are some more videos from my... Accio subscribe button. Accio videos. There we go. Until next time, these are Neville's, Ginny's, and Luna's wands. I'm David, and this is the Craftmansion.